John started, this federal case started last Tuesday. The trial started last Tuesday. It's been about a year and a half since they gave him the indictment and arrested him and put him through the process. So last week on Tuesday, the trial began, and the judge announced the case and looked at the prosecutor and asked the prosecutor if he was ready to begin. And the prosecutor said, yes, the United States is ready to move forward. Actually, he said the government is ready to proceed. And then he looked at John, who was without representation, and there's a standby counsel, and said to John, is the defense ready to go? And John looked at the man and said, I noticed that you're directing your voice at me. Oh, no, he said, Mr. Fall, are you ready to go? Are you ready to get started? And John said, I notice you're directing your voice at me. I'm not Mr. Fall. He says, and the only reason I'm here is to prosecute my claim against that man over there who's acting in the capacity of a prosecutor for fraud, for committing fraud and causing me harm. And the judge didn't want to hear that stuff, so he told John, well, that's not what we're here for. We're here for this case, and this is what we're going to be doing. Are you ready to proceed? And John said the same thing. I notice you're directing your voice at me. I'm not the man. I'm not John Fall. I'm John Joseph Fall. And this went on for, I'd say, 5 minutes or so. And the judge was getting more and more aggravated. And John said to the judge, look, if you wish for me to do something different than what I'm doing, I require you to put it in an order and to sign it. And I will, I will take your order and execute it. I don't remember the exact words John used, but that's the point he was getting across. And so the judge said, all right, we're going to recess. And the judge actually left the room. And, for 10 minutes, and then we got back together, and then the judge gave the man acting as a judge, I think his name is John O'Connell, gave an order to John, and the order was that you will obey the rules, you will obey the rules of procedure, the rules of this court, the orders of this court, and blah, 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 and it went on. And then he said, so is the defense ready to proceed? And John looked at him and said, I notice you're still directing your voice at me. Like I said, I'm not Mr. Fall. I am John Joseph Fall. I'm here to prosecute my case against that man for committing fraud against me in by way of this indictment that's on the record in this case, and I require to move my case at the same time as this case. And the judge cut him off and said, Mr. Fall, there is an order. Again, there is an order in this case right now. It's before you. I believe you've already been served with this order. And John said, that order is to John J. Fall. My name's John Joseph Fall. He says, that's not an order for me. That's got nothing to do with me. If you want me to carry out an order, then you write it out to me, John Joseph Fall, and I will carry out your order. And this is how the first day went, and it was beautiful. It was just hilarious to watch. And the judge was fantastic. He did his part great. I mean, everybody did. The marshals came in and took John out, and the man acting as judge ordered the marshals to remove John from the courtroom. And so John was brought down to another courtroom down the hallway, where they set up video and audio for him to be able to watch the proceedings so that they could preserve his due process rights to be involved. And Karl had a great thing to say about that. I'm sure he'll tell you about it afterwards, about being his drink of water. And what are you telling me I can and cannot do at my trial? So from there, after John was in the other room, at the other end of the hallway, the judge continued to present the case, explaining to the court or to whoever was in the court, what was going to happen next is he was forced to, because of John's willingness to not respect the court, that he had effectively waived his right to counsel, and that he was appointing the standby counsel, a man by the name of Kevin, I don't remember his last, Fitzgerald, I believe. Great guy. What an awesome guy. Great personality, excellent disposition for the kind of work he's doing. So he was he was appointing this guy as full-time counsel, and John remained at the other end of the hall, and this guy took over the case, and they threw us out because there wasn't enough room for the jury. It's a small courtroom, so we went down to the other end where John was and hung out with John while they brought in the 54 people that they were going to pick the jury from. And they went.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm just listening to some wood over here. Yeah, what John has to do is you got to put a notice into the court that since the judge, under his own volition, moving under his own volition and not within John's consent, that if he bears the burden now of any liability, that by his actions or his inactions, by appointing a counsel, if this counsel causes any harm to the man, that the judge, the Bill Williams, known as the judge of the United States Federal District Criminal Court, is going to be held liable for a claim of harm, injury, or financial loss due to his actions or his inactions. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For his competency or his incompetency in what he decided to do on John's behalf, on the person known as John Hall, defendant's behalf. Because there's a man attached to that defendant. Just like I said, there's a dog attached to that truck's back bumper. Yeah, you could drive the truck, but what about the dog? Oh well, I got the right to drive the dog. Okay, did you check the damn bumper? No. Well, don't you think that it might have been a good idea? Well, I got the right to drive this truck. Dude, I didn't say what you can undo. Did you fail to check what was on the back bumper? Yeah. Did you fail to, understand that there's a man attached to that defendant? Well, yeah, but I could drag the defendant around. Dude, I didn't ask you that. What did I ask you? You see, like I said, that one guy said that to me. He says, man, Carl, the way you do analogies is fucking fantastic. So you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to put in a little bit of a context here, what you guys should be doing.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah, I want to mute out again, man. I got to put my gloves back on. I'm freezing.
Okay. I'm texting John a message. I'm hoping he's going to join us. All right. So they proceeded to pick the jury and give jury instructions, and then they began. One of the things that was awesome is that there's a lady who's the clerk of the Rhode Island Supreme Court, and she was one of the jurors, one of the prospective jurors. And the judge asked everyone, he gave the basic guidelines, the basic rules, and then he says if there's anybody that has a problem being here or being, unbiased, giving an objective opinion as to what they see and hear, please let me know. So people raised their hands one at a time. They went up. Some people went to the sidebar next to the judge's his desk, whatever. They went to the side of that. That's called the sidebar, to discuss their personal issues. It might have been medical reasons or whatnot. But one of the ladies that came up was the clerk for the Supreme Court of Rhode Island, and she says, I don't think I should be on this jury. And the judge says, would you like to come up and talk to me here at the side? And she says, no, I can tell you from here. She's standing at the microphone. She says, I've never been in trouble with the law. I've never been arrested. and I work as a clerk in court, and I totally believe that everybody who comes in here into my courthouse, into the court where I work, is guilty, and I don't think I can be objective at all. And she just nailed it perfect. I mean, if you don't want to do jury duty, that's the way to get out. She was hilarious. So the judge just excused her right away.
Yeah, that's what I say all the time on my show. If they made me a judge, as far as I'm concerned, I'll put the noose around your neck when you get on the witness stand and say, what's this? Oh, hang on, bailiff, put the noose around his neck. Now, work your way out of it. That's exactly what I do. I say, here, put a noose around his neck. Now, convince me why I shouldn't hang you. Because this police officer, I'm not sure he's trained in his duty and he's carrying out and he's performing in a proper manner. You convince me why we shouldn't hang you. So that's good. That's the way you should be. You know what? They always say you're innocent until proven guilty. Bull. As far as I'm concerned, the European way is correct. These people are, you could show me that there's a conspiracy to do this to you, just like they did to me. Show me why you believe that they took your kid. And I say, well, as soon as you give me a copy of the case file, I'm more sure I could try to figure out what's going on. It took me 6 years to get a copy to prove that they were conspiring by using another contract from another family to take my kid. So as soon as I was able to obtain that, of course, the kid was released to me. The kid was brought back into my family. But like I said, it was funny. It's like I said, now the people who conspired, now those people should have the noose around their neck. And now explain to us why we shouldn't hang you, social worker, why we shouldn't hang you, Governor of Alabama. Now why shouldn't we hang you, Attorney General of the state? Now you explain why. We put the noose around this man's neck for 6 years. Now, why shouldn't we not put the next noose around you and hang you? If that's what you wish for me, that's what you should wish for return. This is very serious stuff when you're trying to destroy and steal somebody's property and destroy their world. This is very serious stuff. And back then, like I said, for tens of thousands of years, that's how a king would run. He'd put the noose around your neck and now explain to me why I shouldn't hang you. Because I ain't got time for this. The king's got court. The king's got a lot of things to do in his court, and it ain't to deal with your silly nonsense. That's why litigation or any kind of summoning somebody to court was unheard of 120 years ago. It's unheard of. People settled it outside of the public forum. Now it's a free for all. It's a huge industry. It's easy money. It's an easy way to steal money from 50, 60, 70-year-old people who acquired this wealth throughout their whole entire lives of working. It's very easy to attack them now and say, oh, you made an IRS error back in 1998 with all the civil penalties and forfeitures. It came out to $1.376 million, 17 cents. And since you've never been arrested in your life, never got in trouble, paid your taxes 50, 60 years, was the best plumber in the world, dentist, doctor, neurosurgeon, flight attendant, whatever the hell you are, you acquired all this wealth. This is the way that they figure, the centralized government figures out that they could steal it from you, legitimately, with a smile on their face, and making you feel that you need to defend yourself, that you've done something wrong. Actually flip it around and like, watch, these people actually going to think they've done something wrong. Watch, we're going to actually convince them. It's all their fault. And it's hysterical what they do. And people try to fight from the position of a defendant instead of turning around and coming after them and say, hey, who are you? Just like you said a little while ago. You said, he said the government is ready to proceed. Right?
Yeah.
John should have said, point of law, clarification here. Yo, over here. What, I need a clarification. Point of law? What government? What do you mean, what government? There's 4 billion governments on planet Earth that I'm aware of. Which government in particular is moving a claim against me? Everybody's self-governing. Which government are you talking about? Like you said, I heard that, because when I went down to Boston and Rhode Island, wherever the hell I went, I heard the prosecutor say the same thing. He kept saying the government. What government? What government? You guys don't ask them, what government? Which government? What government? What government? You mean something that has the capacity to move me? Move me, the man? Which government? So see, that's what I'm saying. I heard the prosecutor say it a couple of times, but then obviously, I was trying to pass notes to John, and the U.S. Marshal guy kept saying, no, that's enough. Enough notes. The judge is starting to get pissed off. Because John doesn't have the wherewithal to just flat out say, oh, the government's ready to proceed. Because you guys are so effing smart. People like John, you're so highly educated, you're so effing intelligent, you guys have, I know what the government is. It's the United States of America. Oh, wait a second, are you sure it's the United States of America? Maybe it's just the United States government. Well, it's the same thing. Oh, really? Really? Why don't you just play stupid like Karl and just say, you know what? Government. Which government? Because in mankind alone, there's 4 billion independent governments floating around planet Earth. Every dog, cat, fly, flea, ant, worm is self-governing. Which government in particular are we effing talking about? Government with an uppercase G?
When did Obama say he would the right to self-govern? What was that on?
It was, I think it was November. Was it November 17th, 2013, or was it October 17th, November 3rd, 2013?
I think it was October.
Yeah, when they opened up for business again. Was the greatest gift our forefathers gave us was the right to self-government. That's right. But you know what? God gave us the right to self-govern. Not our forefathers. God gave it to us. And like I say to people all the time, is what? You guys are so wrapped up in the secular breeding, the secular governments. You guys deserve what you get. You're such an ungodly people. You deserve what you get. Because you think a centralized government gave you the right to self-govern. Oh, really? Oh, my forefathers gave that to me. Oh, really? Well, maybe my forefathers did because they're my creator. So they're my closest connection with God. So through them, this is what I got. That's right. But so did the worm, so did the fly, so did the bird, so did the dog. Through their forefathers. Not because it was based upon a piece of paper in writing. Because it's common law. It's within us all. So, yeah, like I said, I just had to jump in. I was going to jump in before, but I had some shit in my hands. I couldn't unmute myself. I got to mute myself with my nose. I'm not stupid enough to take my gloves off again. So I'm going to mute myself off. It's pretty funny. You use your nose to unmute yourself, so it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to mute myself again.
All right. So, John says he's on. Oh, there he is. All right, I see him on the call.
How you doing, Gus?
Hey, good. How you doing?
I'm fried. I'm so tired. I've been in bed all day trying to catch up, and I just can't seem to get sleep. But yeah. I got your message, so I figured I'd call in and say hello.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try to just get back to sleep, get some rest pretty soon, but I just want to see if you had any questions, or you want to talk about anything.
No, we were just going over, the statements. If you want to talk about the different stuff that happened over the course of the last 2 weeks, you're more than welcome to put it out there. I can only give my version of it.
Well, I think probably just I don't want to go into the whole thing right now because it's a lot of stuff, but a couple of the big lessons I learned from it, and this is just my perception. Everybody's got their own perceptions. Is what you taught me on entering the court, giving your driver's license, being suicide. Boy, that's a bullseye. Because apparently behind the scenes, there's some kind of rule that when you give them when you go into the court, it has to go in as an exhibit. So never again. If I ever go into court again, I'll never give them my driver's license. And another lesson I learned is...
No, the big thing, too. Okay, hang on a second.
Karl, how are you?
How you doing, John? Yeah, I'm going to jump my truck a second, man. I'm freezing. Hang on a second. No, the big thing is that it's not your driver's license, okay? It's the state-issued driver's license. They're the creators of it. It's theirs, okay? Anytime. So you don't say, I'll never give it to them, because when there's feeling controversy, okay? The big thing I tell people all the time is what? Gus could probably answer this. What do I tell people, Gus?
Karl, you tell people so much shit, I don't know what to think.
Sorry about that. I dropped the phone. I tell people what, Gus?
I said, you tell people so much stuff, I don't...
Okay, if somebody asks me for my driver's license, okay? If somebody asks me for my my unicorn, okay?
Yeah.
It's something that I honestly don't even possess, it's not literally mine, so how the hell can I give you something that's somebody else's property? There's two ways you can do it. It's like this was state issued to me and this was put into my custody and care. I'm not at liberty to just, discharge it to any man or woman on planet Earth that asks me of it or demands it of me, because, like I said, say I gave you my child, and I gave you custody of my child, and I say to you a little later on, like, what, they didn't give John back the driver's license?
No, I just didn't give it to them in the first place. I just wrote a note that.
Okay, I thought you said that you gave him the driver's license, like you'll never do that again.
Well, in the beginning I did, and then I stopped. And what I did is I just wrote a note, just a simple note. I am a man entering this public courthouse to face my accuser and move my claims.
Right.
Along those lines.
Oh, yeah, it's the security guards at the front desk. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the U.S. Marshals.
Yeah, they check at the check-in with a weapons check, the metal detector.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, even like I said, with anything like that, all you basically have to say is like, look, say I gave you my kid, and then I came back an hour later and said, where's my kid? It's like, oh, somebody with a badge came over here and said that they wanted to take custody of my child, my property. It's like, wait a second, who did you release it to? Who did you discharge it to? What are you kidding me? So, like I said, people have got to start. See, this is what I'm saying. People are so used to just saying, look, we live in a mommy state, a nanny state. And when mommy says to baby, give me that ice cream cone, baby just turns it over to mom. Might make a face. It's like, oh, mommy, you gave me that lollipop. Oh, and I got to give it back. Yeah, that's enough of that. We got dinner to take care of. We got, the room's clean. Give me back that, and maybe I'll give it back to you later. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll play God. Maybe I'll play I'm your creator. Maybe I won't, because I got a badge. Oh, no, I'm mommy. So everybody is so willing to just submit and hand everything over because they got a badge. Or they got a piece of paper that says, oh, look, we got this Constitution that says we got control and power over you. Oh, really? Okay, well, I better just submit. I better just give in. Like I said to somebody from San Francisco the other day, I said, look, this is a lifestyle. I said, you lived out there for how many years, 30, 40, 50 years of your life? Look, I'm from New York. I'm from Brooklyn. You just turn over anything to anybody. Like, say somebody sees you turning something over to somebody else. Guess what? You're going to have a pack of people fucking just stripping everything from you. Every ounce of clothes, every ounce of thing. They're going to take everything from you like a pack of hungry wolves. It's just like Gus and I were talking about Mark. I said he's a Caldarian. And Bali's like, oh, that's why he's so aggressive. That's why he's got such an angry voice. That's why he sounds intimidating and mean. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, if you were 3 feet tall, you better curse, swear, you better act angry, you better be a mean motherfucker, because in that part of the world, if you even showed any sign of weakness, your neighbors would tear you apart like piranhas. So this is what the federal governments are doing. You show any sign of weakness, and they're just going to tear you apart, especially 50, 60, 70-year-old people like a pack of fucking piranhas. They're just going to strip everything from you. Once the federal government's done with you, the state, the counties, they'll all take whatever they can from you. That's because they're not getting their hands dirty for a living, these lazy bastards. They're doing everything with paper, pen, and ink. They're doing everything by manipulating the language, manipulating words. If they didn't lost the capacity to communicate with paper, pen, and ink, how would they make an income? How would they make an income if anything that God gave them, they did a Tower of Babel on them, and everything that came out of their voice and on their hand was written in Chinese? How would they control the United States people? How would they do it? The United States people would say, what is it going on about? What the hell is this crazy shit they're spouting? What language is that? And it's like, I don't think it's Cantonese. I'm not sure. What's this document they're throwing in my face? I don't know. Some crazy hieroglyphic Chinese-looking shit. Well, they got a gun pointing at me, and they're waving this piece of paper. It's like, dude, I don't know what to do. I have no fucking clue what you're trying to communicate to me. We're not on the same level here. We're not on the same playing field. I got no idea what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to convince people, that just because you see a piece of paper and it looks like you can understand what is on there, and that you were trained in school to have up to an 8th grade competency level so they could hold you liable for paperwork. And that's exactly why the centralized governments you always hear, like Barack Obama, was like, well, my mission is to get everybody to at least an 8th grade competency level. Yes, so that way when we throw a piece of paper at you, they say, do you understand that piece of paper in front of you? They know, well, let me see. Let me see his records. Did he go through at least 8th grade? Yes, he did. Okay. Did he at least get a passing grade? Yes. Okay, then we could hold him liable for what's on that paper. That's the whole trick. It's an effing sick trick that they're doing to you guys. It's really manipulating you people. So if somebody says to me, I want my driver's license, it's like, what? Honestly, it's not mine to give. It was state issued. I'm not the creator of that wonderful document. But you know what? What can you give me in return? If you give me this, what can I hold for a deposit? What can I hold in case you decide to cut it, damage it, break it? Just like that phone call I did last week that Gus loaded up on the show with that newborn baby. They wanted to come in the house. They wanted to see the baby. I said, oh, is that what you wish? I did one of those genie things. I was like, oh, is that what you wish? Did you wish to see the baby? Oh, lovely. So I told the lady, go in the house, lock the door and don't open it again. Yell out the window to anybody, you got a cell phone number that I could call you on? And so some social worker said yes. And now go take a picture of the baby and send it to her. And her wish has been fulfilled. Now she sees the baby. She sees the baby with her eyes. It's like that old joke. It's like, can I see that? The teacher or the parents would say, or some friend in the street would say, hey, can I see your baseball glove? Can I see your bike? Yeah, here, you see with your eyes, not with your hands. So it's like, oh, is that all you wish? And then you leave. It's like, yeah, they just want to see the baby. The deputy said, all we want to do is see the baby. And then you leave, and then you leave her alone, and everything will be okay. Yes, all we want to do is see it. Well, lovely. That wish could be fulfilled in a matter of moments. Give the phone back to the lady. I told the lady, okay, now get in the house. I said, tell them you got to go in the house. You got to take this call in private, and I'll work with you in there. She said, oh, okay. She said, he must be going in the house, so we're talking private. I said, you in the house? Yeah. Door closed? Yeah, lock it. Don't ever open it again to these clowns. I said, now, yell out the window. What's the phone number? Give me a phone number. Now take a damn picture of the fucking baby and send it to him. And yell at them, now you see the baby. You agreed. Once you see the baby, you'll leave. Now leave. And then they didn't leave. So I said, now you're a dishonorable people. Now, I don't know about further communications with you. Because you said one thing and you did something else. They're dishonorable. You yell out at them, they're dishonorable people. We agreed on one thing and now you're modifying it. No, we're not going to play this game. You said, see, you see the baby? Good. You visually wanted to see the baby? Good. No, we wanted to touch the baby. Oh, you wanted to touch the baby. Oh, well, you're going to have to be indemnified, bonded, and we're going to have to do background checks on you because we just don't let anybody touch our property. That's a Ming vase. You know that vase, that property, that baby? It took hundreds of thousands. No, you know what? According to Darwin, it took billions of years to create that little precious gem called a baby. It took billions of years. Okay? No, it's very precious and very valuable. You're not just going to come in here and manhandle it and touch it. No, you're going to be bonded, you're going to be insured, you're going to be indemnified to the maximum amount that I believe that will secure and protect my property from any physical damage that you do to it. What happens if you physically manhandle this baby and you guys are in such a panic because you want to grab the baby and run out the effing door and steal it? What happens if you trip over an extension cord or a rug or trip over the chair and you break the baby in half and he's in a wheelchair the next 80 years? Who's going to pay for the wheelchair? Oh, well, then you could sue us. Oh, sue us. So we could sue you in front of your judge friends and your judge court and your judge jury and all your friends who run the state system. Oh, how much are we going to get? Right, and how many hundreds of years is it going to take us to get a freaking dime from you effers before you keep people saying, oh, well, it's all your fault. All you had to do was do what we told you to do, and we would have never took the baby and ran and tripped down the doorway and fell down the front door steps. We would have never done that if you just cooperated with us. It's all your fault. You're partly liable and responsible for negligence as well. If you just did according to what the state wished you to do in the first place, your baby wouldn't be in a wheelchair. That's the malarkey you're going to fucking hear. It's like, you know what? I don't want to hear no malarkey. You get a bond. You get insurance. You prove it to me that you're insured and you're indemnified for, I don't say care, lady, whatever amount you want to claim that your little precious bundle of joy is worth. $1 million, $10 billion, I don't give a damn. I said, when you're satisfied, you tell them to come back with a bond. And when they come back with a bond, you're going to put it in escrow. And you're going to make sure through either the bank or a legal, lawful financial advisor that there's something attached to that bond. There are legitimate funds that are there. And it's not they just cut, copy, and paste it off the internet, something that looks like a bond. It's like, look, let's just give this lady any damn thing. Just whip out something from the internet that looks like a effing bond. You're going to make sure that the bond is secured in your possession, that they have no ability to get it back. They're just going to walk in with a warrant and a bond attached. Yeah, it's a legitimate bond, and it's attached to the warrant, and it's 100% bona fide bond. And so they give you this bag of gold. They give you this bond when they walk into your house. Obviously, they're going to put you in handcuffs, and guess what? You think they're going to leave the warrant with the bond in your back pocket? You think they're going to leave the warrant with the bag of gold on your kitchen table? No. They're going to leave the fucking warrant there, but they're going to pick up their bag of gold, and they're going to put it back in their back pocket, and they're going to put you in handcuffs and drag you out the door. So the bag of gold is gone, and you're gone. It's like, well, I had the bond there for 2 seconds. Yeah. Go ahead. Deal with the leprechaun. See how fast you keep his gold. These people are masters of manipulation. The judiciary has got this thing down to a fucking playing skill and you've got no idea. They're using Old Testament on you, man. It's judiciary for a reason. It's the old Jewish laws, the old Jewish bylaws. They know what they're doing. They're masters at this. They control everything when it comes to the judiciary. They're not stupid. You got to learn how to beat them at their own game. You got to secure that bond. And like I said, they're not going to give up their little pot of gold. They're not going to give up one farthing if they think, you know, they couldn't care. Honestly, they couldn't care less about your kid if it's going to cost them 1 penny, 1 shilling. They couldn't care less. If they think they might lose one little tiny scrap ounce of gold, they ain't gonna fucking do it. They'll say, you know what, leave them alone. Let's go for somebody else. You know what? Well, they just want one sliver of a farthing of a hair, a breath of gold. We're not giving them shit. Let them keep that fucking baby. We got plenty more to deal with. We got other people's babies we could steal. It's all horseshit. It's all fucking fraud.
All the time.
All the time. So like I said, when somebody wants something from you, say, not a problem. Are you indemnified? What? Are you bonded and you're insured? Well, just like me. Okay, you say, well, that's an awful extreme. It's like, well, okay. I was driving around Alabama and Georgia, I think for about 2 or 3 years without a physical hard driver's license because it was issued from the state of Arizona. And it was good for 30 years. So obviously I wanted to just, anytime I got stopped by a cop, I just said, well, this is the driver's license number. I actually physically lost a hard copy of the card, but here's the number, and you could call it up to Arizona, or you put it in your computer, whatever, and you'll see that that's me, and that's my driver's license number. So for 3 years I was driving around without the hard physical part. So if somebody said to me, like you're saying, well, the security guard's like, oh, come on, dude, how much is this card worth? You know, how much are you asking for it? How much you want me to bond and indemnify for before you release the custody to my possession? It's like, well, like me. Mine was in Arizona. For me to go back to Arizona, I had to take 3 or 4 days off of work. I had to fly out to Arizona, which included a plane ticket. I had to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and I had to pay them money for a lost card. Then I had to fly back to Atlanta and go back to work. So it cost me a couple of $1,000s to replace that effing card. Wow. So you could say to them, you know, how much does it cost to replace this card? Dude, don't you worry about it. I believe that that's how much that's worth for me and my time lost from work and everything else to obtain one of these things, so I'm not harassed and bothered by police officers anymore. Or when I want to get a motel room, I'm not harassed all the time, you know, because I was traveling all around Alabama and Georgia. It's like, where's your driver's license? I ain't got one. Well, we can't let you stay in a motel here. Oh, great. What am I going to do? Go sleep in your truck. Go find a storage place. You know, somebody will take you without ID. Ridiculous. Yes, this is a very valuable document, and I'm not just releasing it to anybody. They say, what happens if you break it in half? What happens if you destroy it? What happens if you keep it? What happens if you lose it? Then what do I do? Well, just go down and get another one. Okay, how much time does that take me from my life, from my job, from my work? Okay, $200, $300, give me $300 and I'll give it to you. What? Look, I'll give you my driver's license. You give me $200-$300. When you give me back the driver's license, I'll give you back the $200-$300. How's that? Or $2,000-$3,000 because mine is from out of state and I got to fly and I got to do all sorts of nonsense. Give me $2,000-$3,000. Or maybe we just want to see it with your eyes. But if you want to physically touch it with your hand, that's going to cost you. That's what I was telling them. You want to see the baby, you see him with your eyes, not with your hands. You start touching my property, that's a trespass. If you could visually observe my property from the public venue, from the common grounds, that's fine. If you could see my baby from the street, I'll hold him up by the window. There you go. You see him? Good. Stay in the public commons, but you're not coming on private property. And that's what was funny. That phone call was hysterical. Because, like I said to the lady, yell at the cop. You know, if you had, power, if you had authority, if you had jurisdiction over this house, you'd turn the doorknob and you'd walk in like you do when you go to your house and you've done your 8-hour shift. You go home, you turn the doorknob, and you walk into the cross the threshold, and you're in the living room. Why can't you just walk into my living room? Because obviously you don't have the authority, power, control, or jurisdiction to do such an act because you evil bastards, you hateful fucking monsters, man. You'd have no problem turning my doorknob and kicking it in if they gave you the green light to go. You would destroy every damn thing in your path once you cross that threshold. You wouldn't care less what you do to my lamps, my photos, my TV, my sofa, my meal for the evening. You destroy every damn thing in your path to steal my property. You're a bunch of thieving hordes. Well, Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It was a great phone call I did with that lady because, like I said, it was fun because it was live. You know, it wasn't like a radio show where people say, "Oh, this is all a contrived act." Oh, really? Oh, well, none of his stuff works. Oh, really? Well, the lady had cops at the door on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. It was Friday night. She calls me late. Saturday morning, she calls me first thing in the morning. And so far, everything's fine with her and the kid. Yay. But like I said, you know, people are like, oh, this stuff won't work. Oh, really? Well, this is what you need to say. This is what you need to do. And she got a letter back from, she got a letter back. Where is that letter? Hang on a second here. She sent it to me. And people always say, oh, these people don't, the commissioners and stuff and secretaries of DFAC or CPS or DHR, they never get back in touch with you. Well, we sent them a letter the other day. And within like a day or two, here's the letter. It's like, Dear Mrs. Livingston, thank you for your letter to Secretary Carroll regarding Child Protective Investigator Alicia Grimes. The Secretary asked that I respond to you on his behalf. Lovely. This is a freaking letter from the top dog. She was going to send it to like the lady supervisor, the regional director, and bullshit. You sent it. If you communicated with the governor, all that's going to happen, because she said the governor is, she said, oh, I looked at the hierarchy of the government of Florida, and the governor is the presiding chief executive officer for all government agencies. I said, of course he is. I said, but look at this governor of Alabama. He was a cosmetic surgeon. He did boob jobs for 30, 40 years of his life. He has no effing clue about law. He would have absolutely no idea that you're saying this social worker is trying to take your baby, and he'd be, well, I'm a cosmetic surgeon. Isn't that what social workers do? They steal babies? I thought that's what they did. I wasn't aware that they didn't do anything else. So you talk to a governor, they had that funny show back in the 70s called Benson. The governor was like a peanut farmer, and he had no effing clue about anything. But he had a good heart, and people decided to vote for this guy. So then the butler would explain to him, look, I've been in butler for the governors, for 50 governors over the last 60 years of my life. I'm telling you, dude, you're screwing up. This is what you need to do. Don't listen to this clown. This is what got the governor in trouble 20, 30 years ago. This is what you really need to do. It's like, oh, wow, thanks, butler. Yeah, because he knows the real deal. So if you talk to the governor, don't expect an answer from the governor. Expect an answer from like a lady like this. So this guy was named Timothy. It looks like Timothy Ring or Rung. It's R-I-N-G or R-U-N-G. It's hard to read. It's like Timothy Ring. So he's the client relations coordinator for Mike Carroll, who's the second in charge of family services down there in Florida. Because like I said, if you send a letter to the governor, you know what? He's just going to redirect you to Carroll. Then when you send a letter to Carroll, he's going to redirect you to somebody who coordinates, you know, like this guy is. He's a client relations coordinator. So you know what? Go to the second guy. Because honestly, the governor, he doesn't care. He's in Tahiti somewhere shaking babies or, you know, or like that other governor. He was down at Chile, you know, effing around on his wife, whatever. The governors couldn't care less. They're just figureheads. They're poster boys. They look good and they kiss babies and shake hands real good. Don't waste your time with the governor. Deal with the people that have been there 20, 30 years. Mike Carroll, the secretary and the man in charge, the director in charge of CPS, social services down there, he's been there for over 20-something years. Talk to that guy. So she sent a letter to him, and like I said, and they wrote back to her immediately. It says, I'm sorry you feel Mrs. Grimes is harassing you. I understand you are currently the subject of an open child protective investigation. I also understand you are refusing to let Ms. Grimes see the child, which only serves to promote the perception that the child may be being neglected. If you feel the investigator is trespassing on your property, you should file for an injunction through the courts. Perfect. What a wonderful, perfect, exact letter. He wrote what I would write. And you say, oh, well, no, this guy's good. I mean, I like this guy. He says, I'm sorry for you. You feel Ms. Grimes is harassing you. I understand. That's great. He stands under. You are currently under the subject of an open child protective investigation. That's fine. You know, and she's going to have to explain, like, well, you know what, you define it as a child, I define it as property. She could go around with this guy if she wishes to, which is fine, but she doesn't have to. I also understand you're refusing to let Mrs. Grimes see the child. Well, she could show proof through her cell phone that she sent dozens of photos to Mrs. Grimes' cell phone. Mrs. Grimes wishes to see the child. I made her wish. I granted her wish. She wished for $1 million. Or like that one TV commercial is funny. The genie says, what do you wish for? The guy says $1 million. And the next thing you see is 1 million male deer walking around the guy's front lawn. There's $1 million. So I asked her, what do you wish? What do you wish of this woman for you to let her alone? What do you wish of her? Oh, and like I said, I recorded the call. She recorded the call. I got this. And I asked the sergeant, or the captain who came down there, what do you wish of this woman? We wish to see the child. And then you will let her be. Yes, good. Your wish will be granted. Go, I said, now give me back the phone of this lady. Go in the house, take 1 million pictures, and send it to this lady's cell phone. Now she sees it. Now what's your effing excuse? Now why are you bullshitting and lying to this lady? Oh, now you want to touch her. Dude, when is this going to end? First you're going to see, then you're going to touch, then you're going to take, then you're going to steal, then you're going to commit extortion. When is this going to end? This never ends with you effing people. Your wishes never stop. I asked you a simple question. What do you wish of this person? What's it going to take to let her be? Well, we need to see her. And then you let her be. Yes. Okay. Well, you're a dishonorable man. You're committing, you're a liar, fraudster. You know, this is just the charlatan. You're so full of shit. We're not putting up with this. If this is what you said, I could tell that lady, now, send to Timothy the recording of me talking to the captain. And the captain said, this is all we wish of her, and then we'll let her be. So send this to Timothy. He said, look, she asked to see the baby. Send 1,000 fucking photos. Did they see the baby? Yes. Did they agree to let him be? No. You got to fucking back this lady off now. Because we can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt is that you said, well, you are refusing to let Mrs. Grimes see the child. Well, it's honestly, see means something a lot different than visually inspect. See means to have obtained knowledge. So a blind man can see just as well as I can. A blind man who's listening to this show probably does better than a visual people because he's just visualizing what I'm saying in his mind a lot better than you people can. Just like Gus said when he saw me doing shows with a whiteboard with a paper, pen, and ink or a crayon, drawing on doodling stuff on a board. He's like, oh, my God, visually, your audio makes so much more sense now when I can see you visually, what you're doing. I can see you audibly, and I can see you visually. Seeing has nothing to do with your eyes. So, like I said, I'm not going to attack this guy with this crazy word see. I'm just going to say, no, the lady wished to see it. And seeing is with your eyes, not with your hands, and she could see it. She saw it, front, left, right, back, up, down, sideways. How much more does she need? Just tell us how many more angles or how many views does she need to see to let her be. Because that's all she asked was to see it, not to touch it, not to take it, not to hold it, not to manipulate it, not to put it under x-rays, not to inoculate it, not to give it CAT scans, not to inject it, not to do anything with it. She just wanted to see it. She saw it. Now go. But like I said, but the last sentence was great. If you feel the investigator is trespassing on your property, you should file for an injunction through the courts. Absolutely. If this investigator won't cease and desist the trespass, sue. Perfect. Thank you, dude. And we got your letter. Attach it. Attach it to your claim that, yeah, I believe she's trespassing my property. Not only do I believe that this is the proper manner in which I should proceed and prosecute this woman, the head of Family Services also recommends I proceed through the courts for harassment and trespass. Thank you.